My bad. So I totally just goofed up my entire live feed. So hopefully I get everybody over here because I don't know. I tried to go back into that live stream. It would not let me go into it for some reason. Chris, what's up, man? Sorry about that. Yeah, my bad, man. My daughter moved to college, so she's like maybe it's like a 4 hour drive or so. But so she calls me every night. She hasn't been calling me lately, and randomly she decides to call me early on the one night that I do a live feed. So that's just that's my luck. And like I said, she's been gone, and I miss the kid so much. So it's like I have to take that opportunity to talk to her anytime she calls. So I had to cut the live and answer the phone to her, and she's like, "It's the greatest day ever, Dad." And I'm like, "Oh," but I know my kid, and it doesn't take much sometimes. And she says, I said, right on. Well, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of my live feed. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and she was going to get off the phone. I was like, well, tell me what's so great. She's like, I found potted meat. The kid's got some hillbilly in her. I just have to take pride in that. So, yeah. So, I apologize for that, guys. That's more important. Very understandable. Well, thanks for understanding, man. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I will. Well, let's just do this. Thanks to everybody who has joined me along the way. If you stopped in and left, um, I appreciate all you guys a lot. Stella. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's just a little shed that I got out here, and it's my little oasis to get away from. Like, this half is all work, and this half is my insanely obsessive collection, and only one person has ever seen it, and that's Dano. And it's like twice the size it was when he seen it. So it's like one day we'll spin the camera around and I'll show you, and then you guys can make fun of me from then on. It's just a weird obsession that I got into, and it just reminds me of being young. And so I don't know. Yeah, it is. So I don't want to get into it. It was just a cigarette, just a Camel. Um, yeah, I just wanted to say thanks. I appreciate anybody who, because I know how easy it is to just watch people's stuff. The algorithm will pick the stuff up and suggest it to you, so you don't have to subscribe. So when you do that, know that me personally, as a creator, it's thank you. I know how easy it is to you just don't have to. So, all right. So I'm taking a little break where you guys, I was kicking out like 2 videos a week, and I'm gonna take a little bit of a break because and I'm just gonna tell you the truth. I hate the analytics that I've been getting. The videos aren't getting viewed. I'm all new to this. It's not really. That's awesome. So I think my video maybe did I don't know. I'm like stoked on hitting 10,000, and then all of a sudden the videos do like maybe 100, 200 views. So I just need a break. Like, I feel like I'm pushing too much stuff out, and maybe people don't have the time to watch it. I think I may move more into the live streaming part and start doing this more often because I think interacting with you guys, I get more fun out of this than I am anymore on making some of the videos. I put out a teaser just a little bit ago, earlier today, and I'm just going to be absolutely straight with you. I had to do that day, and I drove like 3 hours to get there, and I had to do it because it's for my daughter, and it was super, super, super important that that got done so we could take care of her. And so on any other occasion, I probably wouldn't have done everything that I did. I probably wouldn't have pushed it how I did, and I wouldn't have even attempted to do a lot of the stuff that I did. But like, I'll take a bullet for that kid. She's been nothing but gold for me, so it's like I have to return it. So, I found the channel from the videos. Oh, well, right on. It's crazy watching people just be like, seriously. Yeah, yeah. um, so I'll kick the video out, but I think I've just pressured myself because I'm like, the reason the channel's not growing, the views aren't really coming in, is because I'm not going steady video after video after video. So I tried to kind of do that, and they got less views. It's absolutely oversaturated with tree work on YouTube, but I love it. So we'll use this opportunity. Some of these live feeds, they average on like 1,000 views. So the way I'm looking at it is I'm going to do a bit of YouTube tree news, is what we do every time. I'm going to talk about a couple new channels. We'll talk about some of the bigger channels, what they've got going on, and maybe we'll draw some attention to them smaller channels, bring them a few subscribers. I don't even know. Oh, it's not in the camera. So let's do this. This would be the channel that I would recommend this week. If you have time, go check this out. It has been the channel that I've been the most into here lately. And it is Rusty's Tree Care. It's actually Brandon, I think, / Rusty's Tree Care. They are awesome. I really like his videos. His channel's kind of small, but it's starting to build. So oh, you do tree work. I'd love to learn how to make wood shelves. Yeah, the shelving kind of stuff's pretty easy. I think all the shelves in my house I made myself out of like walnut, and I just freehand cut it with a chainsaw. And I still have some of the boards out here. I've made, I think my entertainment center is made out of walnut slabs. Then I did, like, you find old fish table or fish tank stands, and those fish tank stands are really good. You can cut a slab or even cut boards, and it sets down into it and fit them to it. I've made a few tables like that, but they're pretty easy to do. You can go to like a Hobby Lobby or something and buy brackets and just slap a board onto it. I think actually I have a bunch of brackets. When I bought this place and moved in, there was like tons of these, and there was shelving everywhere in this shed. There was almost too much of it, and they used to use this because it has another half of the shed over there we just use for storage. But they used to use this to make like clay stuff, like pottery, and there was these big kilns and stuff. But yeah, so I kind of bought the place. It had a bunch of old tools and stuff in it, and yeah, I still kept everything and use everything as much as I can. So. Still cutting. What's going on? How you been, brother? Okay, I live in Arizona, so yeah, and there's very simple techniques to where you can turn your saw to where it can make the lumber for you. You just get a chainsaw. They make a little thing called an Alaskan mill, and it's like this vise setup that attaches to your chainsaw, and then it cuts boards for you. There's a couple other little gadgets that kind of do that same thing. Like there's this thing that you can buy. This, I could make one literally out of this. But there's this thing that you buy that your chainsaw, you would take it and would attach. It's like a bracket. Oh God, I tripped over my axe. So don't look at this part, these things. But it's kind of like this, and it bolts in right here, and it sits there. And what happens is your chainsaw will ride along a 2x4 that you hammer onto you hammer a 2x4 onto the log, and then this thing goes off of a swivel like this, back and forth, and you can use your chainsaw, and you stay on a straight line. It goes right down the 2x4. Or you get what's called an Alaskan mill, and after you get the mill, it comes with this bracket piece, and you take the chainsaw, and the bracket thing it goes over, it has two handles, and so you just run it like this, and you can cut pretty good, straight, nice lumber. But I actually did all my stuff I did freehand. I watched this wild YouTube video from the Philippines where they freehand cut lumber with like an old it's an old like 070 or something, and they use one hand, and they don't even have shoes on. They're barefoot too. Dan K, what's up? I haven't really been all that busy. Yeah, just hit and miss, but I'm glad to hear you are though, man. That's awesome. Everybody doing well? Yeah, you too, Dan. Hanging in there. Yeah, you can get one. I think they sell one. Harbor Freight sells one. So if you have like a Harbor Freight around you, that's the cheapest route and like most affordable. And you can. Only thing I would say when you buy stuff from Harbor Freight is like tighten it up yourself. Check it over, because a lot of times they'll get products and they're just not assembled the greatest. So oh, my pleasure. Yeah, my pleasure. In Andrew, they hand make 1911s there also. That's awesome. Yeah, it was such a wild video when I seen it, and the technique that they use, they have this massive chainsaw, and it's the old ones where you gotta like push the button to get it to oil, and they use the tip of the bar, and they just work the tip of the bar down, and they just do it with like one hand, and they cut the nicest, most perfect looking lumber. I was absolutely amazed. Every single time I've watched the video, I was amazed. But let me get in a more comfortable spot here, and let's get into this ridiculous story on these chainsaws and this channel. So let's set you guys up here. Oh yeah, and here in a little bit, I'll use my little demo thing here and show you guys how to do double whip rigging, and I'll do an explanation on it. What's up, Leo? Okay, so somewhere. What was I doing? Let's get into this. Oh. All right, so I'm trying to think of how I should do this, because this guy has like copyrighted my videos when I talk about him, and he's a bit of a control freak, and like he's just a spaz. He's a spaz, and nowadays I think people think if you just act confident, you can do anything you want. You can lie your way through anything. And no, you can't. There are certain industries that when you go into them, the people are very, very proud individuals. And like, I would say it's like a mechanic. You're not going to be some idiot that gets into mechanic work and and you're not an idiot. I need to rephrase that a bit. If you like something, you like it. If you want to start a YouTube channel on something that you like, I think you should go for it. 100%. But the problem is when you try to lie your way through and then try to sell products and try to give people advice on how they should do things, and then you start poking at other people who have experience and do have knowledge, and theirs isn't all just made up, confidence for some reason is enough to fool a lot of people. So as long as you have confidence, some people will believe it, I guess, because I've watched this channel grow pretty big pretty quick. And let me see, Garden High, Scottish Highlands. Whoa, well that's awesome. Well, welcome. So this all started one day. I was I love to look around and try to find new YouTube channels. And you like the Rope Runner Pro? Yes, yes, Leo. Yeah, I do. I just got the Rope Runner Pro from my guy Greg Brown. He makes the bollards, and Greg sent me the Rope Runner Pro. I've been running it since then, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I do have a bit of a problem with it's like at times if there's no weight on the system and the rope is really it won't engage back. Like when I'm moving up, it like wants to advance and then it kind of slowly will bite down. Like a little slip every once in a while is what it was. But other than that, man, I love it. Absolutely love it, and can't wait to get some like real timing with it. I'm probably going on some months now, and I've loved every bit of it. I think it's something that you need to have the right rope. With the wrong rope, it can be sketchy though. So and it's adjustable, so with the right settings too. So stay away from metal and wood. How do you know what I'm getting ready to talk about, Billy? Like it was my evil like pleasure that I used to just watch and be like amazed. And if he had a bit of humility to him and like a bit of like humbleness, he would understand that 90% of the things that people were saying to him, we're just razzing him a bit. And he could have made his way in without making a bunch of enemies. And like now it's come to the point to where people look at him like he's a clown. And he's well, we'll get into it. Let me catch up on comments real quick and we'll just go straight into it. You have particular skills too? Well, hey, I think we all do. And if you find something that you're real good at, you should figure out a way to try to make it earn you money. And like, I enjoy making videos, but I don't think like I'm a personality that would be suitable for like TV all the time, or someone that you would watch and just I could just sit there and eat food and people would. I don't think I'm that guy, but I enjoy making videos. It's an outlet for creativity, and the same thing goes with like a lot of the other stuff that I do for hobbies. But tree work is just it's always thrilling, dangerous, and like thought provoking at the same time. So it's just hard to find anything that could ever match up to it. So it's 2:47. Whoa. Well, Chaz, thanks for dang. Correction. 2 a.m. Dang. Well, Garden and dang, that's crazy. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Let me see. What is your name? Mine is Monica, and I thank you for your advice. Mike is my actual name. Garden, my channel is about tree work, tree climbing, using chainsaws. So I would say chainsaws, trees, climbing, and everything about climbing, rigging, falling trees, everything in that little category. And then every once in a while, I'll do something different, but mainly we stay in that realm. I've tried to put other stuff on my channel, like I skateboard and stuff. It tanked my views and lost subscribers, so I stopped doing that. That guy is still around? Yes, he is still around. Billy says, yes, he's still around. What's up, Greg? How are you, brother? There's the guy right there. Sent me the Rope Runner Pro, so I wouldn't have ever probably tried it because it's just something was a bit out of my price range, but Greg makes some of my dreams come true at times and just randomly does these kind acts, and I'll forever be his friend and be indebted to him. So I'm hoping to get some advice from you again. Oh, right on. Stay safe. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's the name of the game. As long as you can do that, you can keep a career in this. But yeah, that's. I don't think there's another job where you go to work, except for like maybe police officers, firefighters, army, and stuff like that, where on any given day, like it could be your last one. So that's pretty exhilarating. Yeah. So I'll be back. Have a good night. A good weekend. Well, okay. Did you say Monica? Dang it. What was it? Um. Yeah, Monica. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Have a good weekend. I make videos that are educational, talking to people who care for others. Love the generosity of others. This explains why you come across kind of grounded. Kind and grounded? Well, that's that's my whole point. I'm gonna always have trouble here on YouTube because I could put on a character and it would probably help the channel grow if I do something like that and just do wild stuff, but it just doesn't feel natural, so I try to stay away from it. But I was getting ready to read them two messages and they're gone. Billy must have put the hammer on somebody. Caden, what's up? How are you? My ex-landlord was a tree surgeon. He accidentally chopped off nearly his whole finger and he stuck back on himself. Tree people are resilient. Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. I fell 40 feet and I still have ribs. Look, you see this right here? These 2 points? That's my ribs. My sternum's no longer connected. I fell 40 foot, like cracked my pelvis, like messed up something in my back, snapped a bunch of ribs, and couldn't walk, and had to teach myself like how to walk again. And I never went and got any surgeries or anything. When I figured out that my ribs weren't gonna like stab through my lungs, I just suffered and dealt with it because like I have my own things and I don't want to. Hospitals usually, when you're in pain, end up with pain medicine, and that's something that I don't need to be around or deal with, or it's just not my kind of thing. It used to be, but it's just not my kind of thing. So, um, yeah, and I felt like I did it to myself. I made the mistake. I was the idiot, so I'll suffer. So, for those who are interested in non-narcotic pain medicine, they make this stuff called biofreeze, and I bought that stuff in tubs and would just cover the lower half from like my knees up and just cover it. I was like completely black from the hips down from the bruising, and my ribs were sticking way out originally. I kind of pressed them back in and they popped into place a little, and then I like couldn't breathe or talk, and it was a rough one, but it was all documented. It's on the channel, so yeah, very lucky, Greg, very lucky. um, I downplayed it as much as I could, um, for the sake of just being a dude, and now I've went back and looked at myself when I did some of them live feeds, and I would come walking onto screen with like a cane or crutches, or yeah, it was rough. It was a rough one. But how long did it take to get better? It wasn't that long, garden. It really was, and I ended up getting back in a tree long before I probably should have. I still was having trouble walking. I went back with a cane maybe a week later and cut the rest of the tree down because I got it all the way to a log. I needed to fall the rest of the tree. I got there probably a week later and felled the log and could barely hold the chainsaw up. I think I had to have help to like get it up to where the notch was at. So yeah, I think nowadays people are so incredibly soft. It doesn't hurt you to go through a bit of pain. So that's why I think some people throw the biggest fit when they stub their toe. Well, hang on. Sometimes I stub my toe and I just want to cry. But some people can't handle pain at all. And I'm not one of them people. I'm definitely not one of them people. So everybody else must read these before I get a chance to. Billy's good, isn't he? I don't even get a chance to read them because I'm trying to answer every comment. So, all right. So I get on YouTube and I'm going to step away from comments for a second. Let's go into this story. So I get on YouTube and I'm always looking up chainsaw stuff. And this channel pops up and this guy he's like pushing that he's got the greatest chainsaw in the world. And it's amazing and it's this and it's that. And so I'm like, well, that's pretty wild. And it looked like a steel chainsaw, but it wasn't. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So it started to show up more randomly in my feed. And I was like, wow, I'll kind of start watching this. And it turns out these are Chinese clone saws. And the brand, I believe, is named Noker. But super strong. Yeah, my frame act is probably, I get that. Sometimes people are like, well, you're meant for that, ain't you? Yeah, it don't take a whole lot to yank me around up in a tree. Like I can pull myself around. I feel like at times I've held myself up in trees with my fingertips. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of trouble getting around up in a tree. So I see there's very few bigger fellers who do this, and when they do, like I got this one guy, Sizemore. I think Justin, maybe his name. Dang it, I can't remember his. But Sizemore Tree Works is his channel, and he's a big fella, but he gets her done, man. And he's got all the respect for me when it comes to that. Where are you from? I'm from Missouri. Do I ever deal with Karens? Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I have like the utmost respect for women. Like I've been like talked down to more times than I can count by a woman. A man, on the other hand, you're not going to get the same leeway that a woman will. So I'm also a Freemason. So we have a loyalty to where you help women, especially widows and stuff like that. And yeah, when I was kind of going through a tough time in life, they kind of gave me that brotherhood kind of thing, and it was really cool to join up with them, and it just seemed like a bunch of hardworking men that meet up every once in a while. So I was all for it. What's up? Not gay? Not? Okay. So I'm scrolling, I find his channel, I start watching it, and he just kind of bugs me. He went from being like realizing he doesn't know anything, but he likes chainsaws. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm on your side there. You like chainsaws, but you don't know anything about them. That's cool. No big deal. You can learn it all. You got all this time. You can learn it for sure. So it's like, I'm all for that. I watch Husqvarna, Netter. I don't know. I don't even know what Netter means. So I think steel is better. But Husqvarna can be Netter. That's fine. As long as steel gets to be better. No, I'm just kidding. Like if you like Husqvarna, I use steel because that's what my dad used, and that's what I have grown a trust in as I've used it along like over so many years of doing this. Like it's like 26 years, 25, 26 years, something like that. But of like climbing and using them, so I have steel too. Oh, right on, right on. Yeah, I have a couple Husqvarnas up there. I keep them hidden as much as I can because I don't want anybody to see me using them. But I'm just kidding. So that's like going Chevy or Ford with some people. You're gonna catch hell. I think the lighting's on. Let me put this light down here. Okay, so I'm watching his channel and I'm just like amazed at how he went from being reasonable fella to just being he turned into a Karen. So I didn't understand what his deal was. Chris, what's up? Um, and but at the same time, I still was interested in the guy. What he was doing. I thought was a good thing. But what he ended up changing into his original thing he was saying is he wants to be able to put chainsaws out and sell them to people so that they can get a more affordable chainsaw. But he wants them to go through him. That way he can assure that the quality of the chainsaw is at a certain standard. He's got me. I'm sold. Like this guy's awesome. The more I watched, I realized that he's a BS artist. And then I'm like, oh no, what are we doing here? Um, I'm like, what's his in game plan here? Because it didn't make a whole lot of sense. What he was doing is he's like, I got these chainsaws, but I won't tell you guys what the brand is, what the name brand is. Um, why that is? Because I don't know why he wouldn't tell in the beginning. He was saying that no one else could get these chainsaws, and that's what he did. Is he put this? He started conflict and competition with a bunch of other guys that just do chainsaws. Not everybody that does chainsaws is gonna, climb trees and stuff or fall in trees. Some guys just like to run a chainsaw. There's like competitive, like where you cut the cookies and stuff. So there's so many guys that do chainsaws. When he started ruffling feathers, telling people he's got the best thing in the world, that made some people aggravated. So, please, can you advise me on how to advise women on how ourselves against male Karens? I'm a tiny woman. Hang on here. Defend ourselves against violent male Karens. I'm a tiny woman. He threatened me. Destroy the mini farm. He was arrested. He killed my. Dang! Well, that's a tough one. Male Karens. That's a tough one. Because I would like to pick up something and clock them in the head, but it's like, yeah, you're a tiny woman. Getting physical with a man, that's like never the ideal. So I would just say you need like security almost, whether that be with cameras, video, or another person. That would be my advice. Um, and try to avoid confrontation. I am the exact opposite. I'm sitting here saying avoid all this, but at the same time, I'm like, I'd punch him in the mouth. Like, I found out something that some dude did to my daughter's friend up in college last weekend, and like, I was ready to drive up there right that second. Like, I don't know. Live different places, have different opinion on how you handle stuff like that. So, I don't want to really get too deep into that, but I mean, yeah, I would just say security. as much as you can have, any way you can have it, and just try to prove the craziness that's going on, and then involve maybe the law and let them do their job. So he destroyed my fruit trees. That's crazy. Taser will work, yeah, yeah. Pistol will work, but yeah. So he's doing this all this time, and at some point he sends his chainsaws out after saying, "Okay, you guys know Husqvarna make chainsaws, Steel make chainsaws, Echo make chainsaws. Those are your big three name brands." He's going around saying his is better than OEM, and that's original manufacturer. So he's saying his Steel clone saw is better than Steel, his Steel Husqvarna saw is better than Husqvarna, and his clone Echo saw is better than the actual Echo saw. And it's like, you're ruffling too many feathers here. You got a lot of people mad, and then people were trying to get one of them chainsaws because they wanted to prove how bad they were. He got to the point where he was fixated on the silliest parts on it, and he'd be like, "Ooh, look how good these plastics are," or "Look how good this cap fits." And he's a very, very strange feller. And he wouldn't show the inner workings of the chainsaw. People were having horror stories about him and saying that they were locking up, that they were junk, and he was saying those people are lying. So at some point, I don't know how this happened, but he sent his chainsaws off to a guy that was going to work on them, maybe for free. Okay? Then when that guy, Heather Myers, what's going on, Heather? Um, when that guy got the saws, he started to work on them, and while he's got the saws in his possession, this guy's name, I just want the guy from the channel, Metal and Wood channel, he had sent this guy his chainsaws, so they're at that guy's house. They're supposed to be getting worked on. They're going to get ported. They're going to get all hopped up, and they're going to be way better, okay? So if he has the greatest chainsaw already, I don't know why he sent them off to have them made better. That part's weird. But this is what happened. So while his saws are sitting there, another guy who does chainsaw stuff on YouTube puts out a video, and he's got one of those chainsaws. He's got a Noker chainsaw. So he puts this video out, and he says, because, you know, the Metal and Wood guy, he's caused all this ruckus all over the internet, saying, you know, if you don't tell him he's amazing, he blocks you, or he hides you, and then your comments are never read and stuff, and he'll just bald-faced lie repeatedly, causes all this ruckus, and then tells people, you can't get these saws, no one can get these saws, I'm the only person that can get these saws. Then randomly a guy ends up with the saw. And the guy who does this, I believe it's Indiana Doug, is the guy who did this. Doug, I believe, is more like a guy who likes maybe cutting down trees, falling them. I don't know if he climbs, but he just loves running a chainsaw. He's good at working on chainsaws, and he kind of shows people how to take those knockoff chainsaws and make them way, way better. So that's what Doug does. So Doug kind of, when the Metal and Wood guy gets to ruffling a bunch of feathers, Doug says, okay, I accept the challenge. You can't go tell all these men that you're the most super special guy in the world and everyone else is wrong and you can't get what I can get. So apparently Doug took that as a bit of competition. So he got himself a Noker. He does a review on this Noker. He cracks the saw open, gets down into the case of the saw, takes the piston out. It shows a bunch of like slag that's all over it. It's rough looking. It is very rough looking. So while he's doing this, he puts this video out and does a full inside and out on the saw, says the things he likes, says the things he doesn't like, and shows how kind of poor the quality is on the saw. So that's all. That video comes out. Steve, Metal and Wood figures out that Doug has put this video out and that he's not talking good about Noker chainsaws. So he's instantly mad. He instantly gets on the internet. He says, "That I don't care. I don't know where he got that saw, but that's not a Noker saw. If it's a Noker saw, it would be way better. My saws are amazing. That is the crappiest quality I've ever seen. That's not a Noker chainsaw, or it's somebody put Noker plastics on it and this, that." He's like, "That's not a Noker. Nokers have the best quality." Okay, a week later, that video is doing really good. Metal and Wood is throwing a fit. He's causing a big ruckus, and it's bringing a bunch of attention to Doug's video. Doug's channel at that time, much bigger than Metal and Wood's too. So he starts saying, that's not a Noker, that's not a Noker, that's not a Noker. Well, Doug then does another video where he shows the performance of the chainsaw. So he showed you inside and out. So now he's going to show you how the chainsaw performs. Because Metal and Wood says, if I was a Noker, it would have ripped, it would have done this, it would have done that. So then Doug shows the saw again, makes it very clear that it is a Noker chainsaw. Then he cuts some wood with it, and he compares it to another chainsaw. He does a bit of a stopwatch test and shows the numbers. The Noker chainsaw performed like crap. And it performed to the best of its ability because Doug is the type of guy that can tune a chainsaw to its max and do very good as far as that goes. He couldn't get the thing to do much of anything. It was just bogged down. It just sounds like there's no top end in it. It just sounds really rough, like it's struggling the whole time. But Doug puts that video out. Metal and Wood still can't figure out. Well, now he's got to realize that is an Noker chainsaw. Now what do I say? He says, "I got it. I know what happened. That's my chainsaw." Okay. So he went from saying that's not a Noker and that's trash. My saws are 10 times better than that. To now he says that's my saw. That's my saw. I don't know how you get from one to the other that quick. I find this to be very strange, but that's where he went. So now he's figured out, how did he get that saw? The guy I sent them saws to. So now he's calling the guy he sent the saws to, and he tells him, "What'd you do? Did you send my saws over to Doug?" And the guy's like, "No, they're sitting right here. Come get them." "Yes, you did. This, that." So he calls the police on him. Then he starts like copyright striking people's videos because they start responding to him and calling him a bit crazy. Then he starts to call anybody who doesn't agree with him or part of a chainsaw cult, is what he calls it. And he says, "I am, the only person that is allowed to have a Noker chainsaw in the United States." And he throws a fit. He throws a fit, says, "I'm suing all of you. You're all getting sued." So when he ruffles all these feathers and gets so many people mad at him, people start looking into his background. And he's just a very strange fella. He's like obsessed with turtles, and he like got in a federal case over turtles somehow. I don't even know how you do that. How you get a federal case with turtles, but this guy did. So he's irate. Now, this is a year and a half ago that all this happened. He's now involved the police. He's said, "You're getting sued, you're getting sued, you're getting sued." Then anyone who started to comment anything that wasn't absolutely positive and just nothing but praising him, he starts to tell those people, "You're going to get in the lawsuit. You're going to get in the lawsuit." And he got like just crazy for a little bit, to the point that he was telling me that I was going to be in the lawsuit. Ground Pounder was in the lawsuit, a bunch of us. I was just telling him, like, dude, you got to let it go. Just chill out. Like, you said that those weren't your saws. Now you're standing there, your saws. I just kind of explained to him what I just said to you guys. I don't get how you got from this to this so quick. So then he's got it in his head that he's going to go get these saws. And the way he'll prove that this is what happened is he's going to go to the guy that he sent the saws to. He's going to show up at his house, and he's going to prove that his chainsaws aren't there, that they're gone, they got shipped away. So he goes to the guy's house with the police, and the chainsaws are there. Well, actually, no, he doesn't come with the police. He comes alone at first. Then he sits down, the guy gets him his chainsaws and tells him, dude, you gotta chill out. Like, I don't know what you're all worked up about. That saw is opened up because he opened them and was going to work on them, but it turned out that they had junk cases that you couldn't do porting and stuff with them because they're not nickel seal, and just a bunch of stuff. And the guy just told him that, like, I can't do anything with this saw because it's junk. So he's got it in his head. This is what's happened. His saw got shipped off, but he tells everybody on the video, I'm going to show up here, and this is how I'm going to prove it. Is when my saws aren't there, that proves that they got shipped to Doug. So he rolls up to the guy's house, sits down, the guy brings the saws out, puts them down, and they kind of are bickering at that time because Metal and Wood has sent this guy a bunch of messages and this and that. And so they kind of bicker for a little bit. And then he picks up his saws and says, I'm going to the police station. So the way he thinks he's got this all figured out is because he said he's seen a serial number in Doug's video. So he screenshotted the serial number, which that's the way he's proven that that was his chainsaw. So he's got a court case going on right now. He says this is what's going on, okay? He's still going, this is what I have local, like recently for his channel. He's got 16.3 thousand subscribers, like blew past my channel so quick, which is crazy to me. But he's still going on about the chainsaw cult, how everyone's getting sued. This is a year and a half later. A month ago, he went to the Noker factory in China. He walks into the factory, sits down, starts recording with his phone of him, a translator, and some random Chinese guy. So this guy doesn't, he looked like he was like 20 maybe, 18. And this is supposed to be the guy who owns the whole factory. So Metal and Wood's brilliant idea is that so he can do his lawsuit and he can sue everybody and get all his money off. This is what he does. I think he sues people because he's too stuck on, I'm going to sue you, sue you, sue you. Everyone's getting sued. And he goes to China, sits down with some random guy and is recording it. And he's like, so I need to ask him some questions. He says, was I the only person in the United States that had a Noker? This random guy says, okay, so am I the only person that has the right to have a Noker in the USA? The guy says, the translator talks, and he says, he's like, okay, and now the last thing I need is, do I have your permission? This is so crazy. Do I have your permission to take on legal action for the sake of Noker in the United States? The random kid guy says, So now he thinks he's got it all figured out. Now the court case is going on. Everyone's getting sued. I just flew all the way to China, talked to this random guy, videotaped him nodding his head, telling me that I have all the rights and I have all jurisdiction to sue anybody over Noker chainsaws. Now remember, he didn't lose any chainsaws. He still got them all. Even the one he thinks got shipped away, he got it back. If that was the case. So he has lost nothing. The only thing that happened was someone got one of his chainsaws, opened it up, showed the quality, and it looked bad, which gave his chainsaws a bad name. So he flies all the way over to do all this. Then he comes back. Now he's back in the United States. Okay? Let's see. Where am I at on this? He said also to the guy, I need verification that I am the U.S. representative, and they gave him the rights, and that I have all the rights to sue people for the sake of Noker. And the kid just shook his head. I don't think that's going to translate over from China to the U.S. That's just me. I spoke with him a few times. He is super full of himself. Oh, yeah, he's a full-out knucklehead. He calls his chainsaws clown saws because he couldn't get away from the name. So now he says that he made that up. No, we did. All of us. The chainsaw cult made that up. We had to let him know those aren't nothing special. That's not a new chainsaw brand. It's not some new state-of-the-art idea. Those are old patents. That's the way that works. You have a device or a product. You keep a patent on it for a certain period of time. The patent goes out. You advance technology and products to a better one. That patent goes away. You no longer manufacture that. That patent can be sold. And in China, that's what they do. They'll take old patents and make them. That's what they did. They took old chainsaw patents and made replica parts. They don't have the quality when it comes to assembly, though. So I think a lot of times the parts, you could get away with it. The parts are probably pretty good. They're just not being checked for quality. So a bad one will squeak through. And they're not being assembled with quality. So want to fall apart every once in a while. So it's just, I don't see anything wrong with the chainsaw things that he's doing. But I think personally, he's ripping people off. He's a bit dirty with his whole game that he's doing. He's charging too much. And then when he gets people there, he belittles them while they're buying a chainsaw from him, which is the craziest thing in the world. I'd backhand him. Right in his jowls. And knock his pretty little... no, I need to stop. But, yeah, he's annoying. He's got this guy called... it's his little pet. And the pet's name is Jawa, the Noker Justice Warrior. I don't know where you get Jawa out of that, but he does somehow. And he's the Noker Justice Warrior. This guy's job is to open these chainsaws, look them over, and fix the parts before Metal and Wood comes and shows you them on video. So I don't think that... I think he's having chainsaws made better. I don't see any issue in that. I think the guy who gets the dude in Jawa knows what he's doing. He seems to be pretty good with chainsaws. But Metal and Wood guy takes all his credit. Everything that in Jawa does, this dude just takes the credit for it, which would drive me nuts. Because Metal and Wood guy, you don't know nothing about chainsaws. You don't. I don't care. He'll randomly pick a part on a chainsaw and obsess on it for months. What was it just not too long? Oh, it was tensioners. Well, he's an idiot. He's broken all of his tensioners on his saws. And he probably doesn't know you can't leave the brake on and try to adjust the tensioner. You'll break it. Just silly stuff. Um, the starter assembly there. He had to look up the technical name. It's called a starter essay. So he says the word starter essay 9,000 times in every video. Drives me absolutely bonkers. Like I can't even handle him. But and then it was like mix. He bought every kind of mix in the world, and then he's telling people, okay, all these smart people in the world, this guy thinks he's the one that figured out the the fix to everybody's problem. He randomly tells people use marine um, mix for your chainsaws. It's the best. No, it's not. I use steel chainsaw mix. I've used it my whole life. I've never had an issue with a chainsaw, so I don't know what he's talking about. His chainsaws, he wants it ran at a weird, like you just have to be his little punk if you want to deal with him. And I just have too much pride to deal with a guy like that. And I think a lot of guys do. But what he's going to do is belittle you. Chris, I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to him. He's very stuck on himself. And I can tell you, he only hangs around that Injawa guy and his wife. Because if you got around some real men, your ignorant ass wouldn't act like that. I'll tell you that right now. So, did he say a dirty word? Oh no. It ain't just chainsaws. Yeah, I know. It's boat motors. Well, what's up, Brandon? What saws are they? A 381 is one saw he messes with. He does a knockoff 372 that some guys may like. I would just say order these saws on your own and then go over them and make sure the parts are all tightened up right and look good and stuff. He is a dude who's a Karen. So what's happened is he has bugged the living hell out of that factory and forced them to probably do better when it comes to assembly and product quality. When he got this Injawa guy, that dude knows what to look for. He knows a good part from a bad part. He knows how a chainsaw works. Metal and wood guy, he don't even know how to tie shoes, I don't think. And then he goes out and he's trying to teach everybody how to cut trees and how to run a chainsaw, how to start a chainsaw. And that's after having 50 videos where he gets his chainsaw pinched or he can't start a chainsaw or he hurts his pretty little knuckles when he tried to pull it. He's just a puss. That's my opinion. They got to knock off everything nowadays, makes it hard on the legitimate companies. Yeah, 100%. So, I agree 102. Yeah, Noker chainsaws is what they are. Never even heard of this guy. Dude, look, okay, Brandon, you want to watch a guy this guy is nuttier than a squirrel turd. I am telling you. It's metal and wood. And so because he's got his feelings hurt that someone reviewed a chainsaw that could or could not be his, and because they didn't say things that he liked, he now has a lawsuit going on. So where was I at? We were a month ago. He went to the Noker factory. Then he got back in the United States. He starts putting out videos like, if you girdle a tree with a chain or cable, will it kill it? Well, this is where it boils down to you're out of your element. Girdling a tree is when you cut through the bark layer and into the cambium layer in a solid ring all the way around the tree. The purpose of doing this is to kill the tree so that you can dry the wood or season the wood standing. He doesn't know the words that he says. He just doesn't know things. But he's just so ignorant with his confidence. And so many people subscribe to his channel that it's given him this big fat head. And he just thinks he's the man. And he's blocked everybody other than the people that are just complete noobs to it. So they don't know what's right and what's wrong. So they're like, "Oh, you're the best. I would love to get a chainsaw from you." And I don't know. Yeah, I think he's a knucklehead. Just yeah. You should look him up so you'll have something to laugh about. Yeah, Billy, 100%. I'll have to. Yeah, do it, Brandon. Um, I should have left this sitting like this the whole time. Go subscribe to Brandon's channel. It's not gonna stay, Brandon. It just sneaks in there like that. There. All right. So he gets back, starts putting out these silly videos. I've seen him do videos where he like almost got knocked out of a tree and some silly stuff. He's just wild. But 11 days ago, he started putting out a new series because, okay, his videos went from getting like 2.8 thousand when he was doing this. I'm mad at the chainsaw cult. You all getting sued. People watched that because it was entertaining. It was like, this guy's nuts, and they kept watching it, and it got views. So then he stopped talking about it, and he's now doing videos on his knowledge that he's got. He's such a smart guy. He went from getting 2.8 thousand views on average to on average like 70 views. And he realizes this. So when he realizes it's down, he jumps back into the chainsaw cult. The chainsaw cult. Let me tell you all about the chainsaw cult. So then he does this 8-part series where none of it made any sense. He like made some other silly stuff up, but he is legit from what he's saying from a year and a half ago. He goes to the court. He's suing everybody. He said he ran into the guy that he's suing at court. That's the guy that he shipped the saws to. He wants it turned federal because they dismissed his case. They said, we can't, that's not going to work. So now he's not taking a hint. He wants to sue somebody on behalf of a Chinese chainsaw company. And the reason he's suing them is because they gave what he calls a faulty review. Their faulty review was them opening a chainsaw, showing it, and putting it back together. That's it. This went on for months. So he jumped back into this because the views are down. He starts talking about like, we're going to court. He goes by the court. This guy's so crazy. He goes by the courthouse to show people, here's the courthouse. And he's got to blah, blah, blah about it. Then he walks, he's got to show people, look, there's cop cars here. And I don't even know what he's talking. He's got a lawyer over this case. And I think his lawyer, hopefully the lawyer is smart enough and he's not going pro bono. Milk this knucklehead for all of his money because he's ignorant. I guarantee you, this attorney is just, this guy thinks he can sue everybody. And the attorney's like, whatever, I'm going to get paid. So he's just milking this dude for everything he's got. I don't know if he's actually got an attorney. He says he does. But he tried to get the case seen just the other day in court. They dismissed it instantly. And so now it's got to go in front of a grand jury, and it's becoming a federal case. So what he wants to do is he wants to ruin at least two guys' lives over this silly stuff. He's looking to ruin two dudes' lives that just seem like two hardworking country boys. And they're both, if he has it his way, are going to have their lives ruined because they said something about his crappy chainsaws that he didn't like. So that's where it's at right now. I have down here the moral of the story is he's an idiot who loves chainsaws. So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm the same. I don't know. But he is sticking to the YouTuber code. where you always sell your subscribers something. You got to sell them something. Like, you got to buy something from me. And he sticks to that. And I just feel like he's ripping people off. That's just my opinion on the whole situation. But, yeah. John taking off. See you, brother. Hey, thanks for hanging out, John. I appreciate it. His attorney is probably his brother. Probably. I think it is a family member. I think. Boyfriend. Actually, that sounds really familiar. I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. So, hopefully I didn't say nothing that gets me in this big lawsuit, because he has a whole lot of feelings for someone who calls himself a man. He has a whole lot of extra feelings that I don't have. And you can hurt his feelings very, very, very easily. So, anybody who is interested in just a weird rabbit hole of just goofiness, check that stuff out. It's that dude, like I said, he's nuttier than a squirrel turd. But like, his madness and craziness is almost entertaining at times. Because it's like, what's this dude gonna say next? He's like, when you can look people and be completely straight and say, my products are better than OEM. So, the product I have is an outdated patent that's very, very outdated and is being replicated, does not have the standards that and practices that you got to do to get up to the quality of a steel chainsaw. The problem also is, I don't think his chainsaws meet EPA standards. So he's having these chainsaws shipped over. Hetty Jacobs, what's going on? So he's having these chainsaws shipped into the United States, and he's trying to start a business when I don't think his chainsaws, actually, I almost guarantee you that his chainsaws do not pass EPA standards. So he can't actually sell these chainsaws. I think he's so dumb that what he's done is he's recorded himself a bunch of times on the internet saying that he was going to sue these people. So now he's got a bunch of other people being like, you said you were going to do this. You still going to do this? Are you going to do this? And he's like forced his own hand to where he has to do it now, he thinks. The problem is, I think he's going to get himself in a bit of a nutshell, because he's breaking rules and he knows it. But he just hopes that those things don't get brought up in the process of him trying to get other people in trouble. He's like that tattletale that did whatever you're going to get in trouble for. He kind of helped, but then he goes and tattles, and you're like, what? Dude, you like held the door open for me. What are you doing? That's him. So, I don't know. If you're interested, apparently he says that all this is going to be going on. He's going to take it much further. So, if you're interested in watching it, that's Metal and Wood. I hate to bring any traction or traffic to his channel because he's a fool. But there's a billion other things that I didn't tell you about that you could see on his channel. I could go on for hours and hours and hours. I don't want to though. So I would ruin the whole live feed because he's done the craziest things. So Garden have to leave? I'm so sorry. Nodding off. Oh, hey, Garden, thank you. I appreciate you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we can catch you again soon. Have a good one. Sleep good. Wishing you a good night. It's dang. Hey, go get you some sleep. You earned it. hey, we're always here. You ever get bored Tuesday? We're always here, and we'll try to do it more often. So I hope to talk to you soon. See you, guard. He definitely makes for a decent conversation. Yeah, yeah, he's different, man. He's very different. So, where are you from, Hetty? Back at you, guard. Lone Wolf. I like your climbing bits. Well, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. I take a lot of pride in that. There's not much I can probably do on this earth. There's not a whole lot of things that I'm good at, and like I feel like that's what I was put here to do. That I feel like I'm doing what I was supposed to do. So yeah, that's good to hear. Thank you, Lone. I I really appreciate it. So you guys want to do news this week? Let's do news. We'll do it pretty quick. I may ruffle a few feathers during this too. And then I'm going to do a demonstration and show you guys how to do double whip rigging. Love to climb? That's so awesome, man. That's so awesome. Hey, you know what? I know you can feel at times like you're a superhero when you do this kind of work and you get down. You almost feel like you're walking on water because you just like defied like death at times and did like one of the world's most dangerous jobs, and you did this like super complicated task and you did it with flying colors and you look good to, so sometimes you can feel cocky when you get down and you can start to carry yourself like that. And I'm sure when I first started my channel, I probably aggravated a lot of the old school guys, or the guys that maybe laid down the groundwork when I come in. I hope that I respected them. And wow, are you guys still there? I don't know what that was. My phone just like legit just like shut off and reset and want to. Is it going? Yeah. Wow. Sorry about that. My phone just like flashed white and then it just went to regular YouTube. So I had to like click back in to start one and it let me come back. So I forgot. Dang it. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember. I hope I didn't. I hope I didn't. You know. Maybe that's why it took me so long. That's why. Maybe that's why no one wanted to help me along the way. You know. And there wasn't anybody giving me shout outs. So, I don't know. I don't know. I've had people say they like me, but they can't mess with me because of my name on YouTube, which I don't get. I go by Steelborn because I've used a steel chainsaw since I was born. It's all my dad ever used. He always said, you get for, and there's a reason steel costs more. So that's where my name comes from on this for this channel, and that offended a lot of people for some reason. And I hate that happened, but it just is what it is. You can be offended by anything. So when I started YouTube, there were guys that I looked up to big time that kind of just bummed me out because they were like, oh, I can't mess with you because of the name. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, I can't. Okay, right on. That is what it is. Steel number one? Yeah, hey, I'm definitely not number one. I don't want to say that. I feel like I've probably ran enough people off because I'm confident. So like, I'm okay if like I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I'm sure I'm never gonna be, but I know what I do. I know I'm pretty good at it, and I know that I don't run into like I don't I have yet to run into another person that I feel like does it better than me. Well, hang on. I don't know. Old Dano stopped over here and seen me. So, yeah. I don't know. There's always a guy out there that can do it better than you. So you just have to remember that. There's no reason to be super cocky. But this week in YouTube news, Zacchaeus put out a landscaping gone wrong video. It was a really cool video. He was doing drainage for this home and found the drain system, the manhole for it. It had been covered over and actually had a tree on top of it he had to remove. And it was just crazy. The only reason he knew that was there was because it's like a basin. But the only reason he knew that was there is because they just put a new fence in, and the guy couldn't put a fence post in because the drain basin was there. So like that just got found, and it was like way underneath the dirt. So really cool video, just randomly cool. But if we're talking cool, I think maybe the coolest video that came out last week, in my opinion, Reg put out a very short video. Wasn't very long. I'm sure most of you guys seen it too. How old am I, Lone Wolf? I'm 40. I've never won a popularity award either. Hey. Yeah. But you're still cooler than the other side of the pillow, so you don't need the award to tell you. If you don't offend people. Okay, yeah. You got it, Billy. Saw that video. Reg is a legend. Yes, he is. What is your favorite bar length when you're up in the trees? I don't know. It just depends. If it's a bigger tree, I'll go with like a 16-inch bar on my 201 or a 200. If it's anything above that, I will go with my 362 that has a 25-inch bar. That's when I get down to spar work and stuff or chunking wood. But I also at the same time it changes from tree to tree. One tree is completely different than the other, but like I have a little 150 that has a 12-inch bar on it, and that thing's like having a laser on the end of like as like a little laser blade because it's just so light, easy to maneuver, like pinpoint accuracy. It runs that 1/4-inch pico chain. It's an amazing chainsaw. Originally, I wouldn't say they're the best chainsaw because they're absolutely and completely restricted too much by airflow. But that's EPA standards. Like we were talking about why metal and wood shouldn't even be able to bring them chainsaws in and sell them in quantities is because those chainsaws don't go through all these other tests that have to meet EPA standards. They've restricted the 150, in my opinion, so much that just opening the exhaust a little bit and maybe even just removing the spark arrestor and leaving the screw out for it adds a little bit of airflow, and the saw responds absolutely and completely different after that. So how's the book going? So Reg put out a video on one of the coolest things I've seen. You guys have seen where Reg puts out the chipper video where it's a little motorized chipper that he can like run and drive it up into the yards, and it's pretty good chipper. It seemed to work pretty good. Well, he puts out this video. This thing is absolutely awesome. It is a little, what do he call it? It is a cheap motorized brush cart. So it's a little motorized cart, and then he had this fold out frame that folded up and then flipped back down that had these two wheels and turned it into like a little wagon. And it would fold up, and he could drive it up into the place, and then he folded it down, and he mounted like a full out brush pile on this thing and drove it out of this yard. It worked so awesome. So yeah, check that out. Reg Coates. That's Reg is spelled REG, and his last name Coates is Coates. Reg is honestly one of the OGs of this. He's a complete master of this kind of like anything that deals with tree work, um, and is so incredibly inventive and will probably guarantee you if you watch Reg, you'll learn something new. It seems like almost every time I've ever watched him, I've done this for over 25 years. I still learn something when I watch Reg. He's always doing something new. He's so good. So check him out. I built a brush buggy for the ground, yeah. Not motorized though. Oh, really? Yeah, I had, what I did was I took my four-wheeler and I took a log dolly and just attached it to my four-wheeler. And we used that as a brush buggy for a while, but, you got to haul the four-wheeler back and forth for the jobs. And then you'd have some ground guy that was using the four-wheeler and burning the clutch out of it and running it. Like, I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, I built one too. So Veterans Tree Service, that's another big channel. We're doing bigger channels here to start out with. So we did Zacchaeus, pretty good sized channel. Reg, big channel. Veterans Tree Service, another big channel. So I agree. I have been climbing for 15 years and learned new stuff through Reg. Yep. Yeah, he's very, very, very inventive and thinks outside of the box, but is also respectful enough that he's not a guy that's like seen something somewhere else and duplicates it and makes a video and was like, look what I invented. That's what is rampant on YouTube nowadays. Guys go and see someone else do something, learn it from them, bring it to their channel instantly before they really figure it out. They do it once or twice, make a video about it, and maybe call it something different and act like they invented it. And their subscribers don't know any better a lot of times. So like, oh, you're so good, dude. Like, I don't know. I think one day you'll get to where you're that OG and some young kid's going to do that to you. And I hope it just bugs you so bad because I see it rampant on YouTube. So watching a Reg video is like going to class and watching the professor teach. Yep. Yeah, I'm telling you. And enjoy it while he's still doing it because Reg doesn't seem like he does any of this for attention. I feel like it's for documentation purposes and for like to help people. So enjoy it while it's here. But Veterans Tree Service also put out a couple videos. He put out felon beaver damaged trees near an aircraft hangar, and then the other video was climbing and removing a hollow tree, a little sketchy. He makes great videos. I mean, there are like a few things that I would nitpick that they did because of my experience. I would have done it a little different, but that's just as far as I would have done it a little different. He was dealing with a hollow tree instead of like it had the front out of it. It's completely hollow. If you still have the cambium layer, you can still put a notch and back cut and get direction and be able to fall it the right way, but you can also do the straight pass through. So yeah, check him out. He's doesn't need my help growing his channel. His channel is doing fine, but yeah, check out Veterans Tree Service. Then my guy J306. If you guys like classic vehicles, cars, trucks, and tree work, check out J306. Jay's always rehabbing and like completely restoring beautiful, like, well, they're not beautiful, but they are when he finishes. So check Jay out. Dano's Tree Work. If you want to see another good climber with a ton of knowledge, check out Dano's Tree Work. And Dano put out a video called Transfer Rig Off Roof ... Deadwood. Here's a bit of advice for anybody who does tree work. Try not to use that word. DEAD. Like I hate to even say it because YouTube flags that and will not push your videos. So there's certain words that you have to think about. You'll notice I don't use that word. I'll say rotten or unalive, or I try to avoid it and play the game as much as possible. I don't understand why you can't use it, but I know that you get flagged for that kind of stuff. And I feel like, especially when you put it in the title, you're not going to get any love from YouTube as far as that goes. So I didn't even get a chance to read it. I figured it was something rude and crazy. Hang on, I can read it if I do this, huh? That's hilarious. That's crazy that you would just randomly pop on somebody's live feed and you're like, he's not fat and out of shape. He's on drugs. That is the first thing. That is a fat guy at home that is sweating, trying to text on his phone, and is like surrounded with rappers. Because I don't understand why you feel inadequate to the point that you got to start calling names or making up wild lies. That's an insecure person. Like, I would think it's probably a man. And as soon as you see another man that's not also insecure, ooh, it just makes your blood boil and you just got to say something crazy, don't you? You come off like a complete fool when you do that. Like, I don't know. And I could say what I always say, like, bet you wouldn't say that if you were in front of me. But then what good's that do? Like, it is what it is. Maybe it'll stop one day, maybe not. But after Dano, check out Brandon, Rusty's Tree Care. Brandon's in the comments section. He's the man. Great content. That's my go-to channel for the week. I've been really enjoying Brandon's videos. So check out Brandon Rusty's Tree Care. He put out a video called Armchair Climbers, and just I think just like the knucklehead that just jumped on here and instantly wanted to start making accusations or trying to, I don't know, like, I don't know what the point is there. You, you want to rise out of people. Um, I think a lot of the people who comment like you did that wrong or you should have done this or you should have done that, they want that rise too, Brandon. So like, um, they're always going to be there. And the person that they hate leaving a comment for is that guy that doesn't care and doesn't respond and doesn't like react because you're giving them exactly what they didn't want. They want a reaction. If you don't react, they're like, well, they're gone. You give them one reaction, they stick around forever. So trolling is, well, hang on. Being a complete like fool and saying ridiculously ignorant crap is now what people call trolling. And like, I don't mind being trolled, but there's just straight up lying and trying to like, just trying to get a rise out of people. What do you think I was going to do? Be like, you can't say that about me. I'm going to punch you. Blah, blah, blah. Get over it. Like, I don't know what you want from me, Bubba, but it is what it is. Deep. Yeah. Yeah, things get deep around here, David. They get a little deep around here. People, yeah, it is what it is. I hope Homeboy finds whatever it is he's looking for tonight and, like, becomes, like, his life gets a little bit better because you can't be having a very good life if you're walking around acting like that. So, I don't care if it's on the internet. That's a reflection of you as a person. The only difference is you can anonymously be a jerk. You want to be a jerk all the time. You just are too scared to do it in real life. That's why you go so hard when you get on the internet. You know, so um if like I said, check out Brandon Rusty's Tree Care. Great videos. He's getting his channel going and I think he deserves to have many more subscribers. So let's get Brandon some subscribers over there. So go check him out. Ground Pounder put out a couple live videos. I never get a chance to catch his lives. I'm gonna have to go check and see if I'm getting notified. But Lawrence Schultz 3000. Lawrence is another amazing tree climber. You if you don't know of him, you should. He put out a video called "What Am I Doing and Why?" This is episode 4 of that. He just discusses proper setup, good work positioning, climbing strategy, and efficiency. So, if you want to learn something, go check out Lawrence Schultz 3000. Guarantee you, just like Reg, but I guarantee you, Lawrence loves to teach. You're going to learn every time with Lawrence. So check him out. He goes by Fannerman sometimes, but yeah, check out Lawrence. You can buy a whole video collection called the Schultz Effects, and he teaches you everything he knows in it. He's just a cool guy. Another channel you could check out. This is a smaller channel that I think is really good. It's ZD Climber. He put out a video called "Removing White Oaks All Around the House," and you have to watch. That's the only thing I seen in his video that I thought was a bit rough was he was taking tops, big tops, okay? And if you make your notch really small, let me see.
Oh, come on.
So if you make your notch really small here, okay. So if you did this and you made your notch really small, so what happens is as this goes over, as the tree goes over, it starts out like this, okay? Okay. So you see the tree. It starts like this. As you cut, the tree could be completely straight, but what happens is on the next one here, as this goes up, it's now not completely center. As this gets over and it's leaning over this way, it's now pulling the tree this direction. And then when it gives loose, I've heard people say that it pushes the tree away, but that's not actually what's happening. When the tree goes from being vertical, completely straight up and down, to arched out, gravity is now pulling you this way. So it pulls the whole tree over because this is now pulling the tree. When the notch closes right here, you're now creating, like, after that closes, you can get a possible barber chair right here. And when it closes, it can't go anywhere. So now it's just pulling the tree as far over until gravity finally gets the tree to the point here that it's too far over and it breaks loose. And that's when it'll, no matter if this is good or not, it'll either barber chair at this point or it'll finally give way and come loose and start to fall down. So you have to watch leaving too much of a hinge when you're making those back cuts on big tops, and you don't. That's why I would say I would recommend to try to keep the face opened up, because that gives you more back cutting time. As it starts to get over, if you can stay with it and get rid of that hinge after it's over centered to take it, get that hinge as small as you possibly can before it closes and separates, or completely sever it. Your tree's not going to take that crazy swing back and forth after you cut it off. ZD Climber, at one point, that's what happened. It closed completely on him, and it said bow and popped, and it slung him like crazy. But yeah, just a little thing I wanted to show and kind of talk about. August, Haneke put out a video, "Work While You Can." I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. I think the video was in poor taste. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of people that don't agree with me. I would have. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what about that made me feel like it was in poor taste. Well, I do. He opened the video up and said, "We got a call from another tree company to do this tree. We got this tree from them." Turns out the climber died. And then instantly clicks into a Hollywood edit music video of him just looking, well, of them just like, I don't know. I would have, I expected more of a, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even know if it needed to be said in the video that the climber that was climbing this tree passed away. And they don't know, he didn't say how it happened. I don't think he knew. Um, I just like wish that part would have just been left out of the video because it went from the video starts. We got this tree from another tree company. Apparently the climber died. I don't know what happened. Boom, Hollywood edit, music video, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. That's kind of I don't know. I don't know what I expected, but I just feel like I maybe would have approached it a little different, or I would have just left that out of it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm being opinionated because of my own personal experiences and stuff. But at the end of the video, he did say that he left a little saying. So, and it says, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with your might. For there is no work or device or knowledge or wisdom in the grave where you're going. So maybe I don't know the deep meaning behind that. So maybe that was maybe more heartfelt than I realize. And I don't know. Like, if you do this kind of work, you have all my respect in the world. If you pass away, I feel all the pain that, like, I feel pain for your family. I understand it. It just can go one day. And I just feel like I would have tried to respect that guy, whether he passed away from a heart attack at night or if he fell out of that tree. If I'm going to bring it up in my video, I would have somehow honored that guy because I'm sure in reality he would give anything to be there doing that tree right then. So I don't know. I maybe I should have just left that alone. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but started to watch the video, then stopped. Yeah, it was a weird one for me, Billy. I don't know, man. I felt really stronger about it when I watched it, and now when I'm talking about it, like, I'm trying to be much more gentle with how I say it, but like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you could be the most humane person in the world, but like the aggravation and stress of everyday life can maybe make you do things out of character. I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but I don't know why it gave me such a weird feeling though. It just is what it is. I did have another channel. This would be the last channel. Well, I have one left, but there was another channel I was gonna do. Um, I promote him here and there, and I was trying to help him build his channel, but he drove me nuts. Like, he just drove me nuts. He literally asked me to like, comment, subscribe, and share his video 10 times in a 15-minute video. I don't need reminded that I can subscribe. I don't need reminded that I can hit the thumb. Well, you know what? A reminder is never a bad thing. Once. You don't need to tell me 10 times in one video. Like, I feel like you're treating me like I'm an idiot when you do that. So one time in a video when you're like, hey, it would help me out, I'm sure my channel would be much bigger if I would have done that. But even that, I don't even feel right doing. You guys know how YouTube works, I think. There's a thumb button. There's a down thumb button. There's a subscribe button. There's a share. There's the spot where you can share stuff. Like, you can even leave a comment. But I'm not going to tell you every single time, multiple times in one video, that you can do all that. And maybe I'm wrong, but I've been watching the channel, and I was like, well, maybe his channel will start growing, but I haven't seen it grow any. So it's like, I think you're shooting yourself in the foot there, Bubba. You need to pull back a little bit. You're trying to be too much of a character, and comes off unauthentic. That's just my opinion. But the last channel is Guilty of Treason. Guilty put out a really cool video. Husqvarna 592 XP update. That was his 1 year use of the saw. Says he's had tons of troubles with it. It's probably the worst saw he's ever owned. I mean, didn't sound like he's the biggest fan of this saw. But he did take down a tree with the saw in the video, or 2 trees. And he ran into some baby raccoons and showed some really cool footage of like the mama coming up and getting them afterwards and taking off with them. The one he picked up, I think, was the one that the mom didn't want nothing to do with. Like, she didn't come back and get that one. He grabbed one of them out and started petting it. And I don't think you're supposed to do that. I don't think you're supposed to get your scent on them. But maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, there's a really cool video. Check it out if you get bored. And even if you're not bored, because he's got a great channel. He's very entertaining. So that's Guilty of Treason. Channel's big. You guys probably already know of it. It's like millions of subscribers. So I don't know why I'm trying to promote that guy, but I just enjoy his videos. So that's what I was watching this week. Let's do the last thing for this video, which is a demonstration on double whip rigging. What is double whip rigging? Well, let's see here. All right, you guys are with me. Don't touch the wild animals. Yeah, Billy, I think there's maybe something about them that if there's something with the mom, like if your scent is on them, then she won't come back and get them. I don't know why, but same way maybe with like baby, I don't know, baby birds too. I'm not an animal like wizard, but that's my understanding. So if you haven't already, when you're done here, go to Brandon Rusty Street Care. Go subscribe now. Go. All right, so let's do this. Can I get a shout out? Rowan, Absurd. What are you doing? Rowan's Absurd Games. Shout out to you. All right, guys, let's do this. Double whip rigging. We're going to rig that piece there, okay? Off the top of here. So, the purpose of double whip rigging is to introduce a friction device that helps slow the piece down gradually, and you introduce a more spread out system and more rope, which if you were dropping a piece off, like it is tied off like right here, you dropped it off. I should move my hand, but you take it here and you drop it off, it swings there. You're going to have some stretch in that rope. Well, if you make that twice as long, when it drops off, you're going to have even more stretch in the rope, which helps slow that down a bit. So, here's the normal rigging setup that we would have. We would be through the bottom one there, up to a set of rings. And this is how I set all my rigging setups. My first ring is placed in the tree and meant to direct down to the lowering device and make it a straight line, so it's not way out here getting caught on stuff like that. Straight up to the, and then to this one. So we have a rigging setup here now. We could rig this piece off here, just hook it on, wrap it around twice, hook it on. But say we're worried the piece is a bit too heavy and we want to share the load on the rope, like we're worried maybe a little bit that the rope could break. So we'll try double whip rigging off of this spar right here. Now if we were regular rigging, we're getting our friction from here a little, here a little, and there. So there's where our friction is. It's kind of spread out in this little spot here. Now, we could span rig this. If we were span rigging a piece, like say we were rigging this piece here, we could reach over here and hook this on here and then rig that off there, and it would go down on this span of rope right here, this V right there. So you're using that same method of two rigging points sharing together to lower a piece. So to double whip, you're going to want to rig everything off this one spar here. So here's how I do it. I attach a ring with a sling to the piece. Now you could use a speed line strap. The problem is a speed line strap is going to give a crazy sharp bend radius right here on the rope. So what I mean by bend radius is if you're hooked up like this, you see how sharp that bend radius is? Like there's where it could be, and that's not bad. But when it's real sharp like that, that can break. The potential for that to break right there is much more because the bend radius where the rope comes down and into it and back up is really sharp of an angle, where the less sharp that angle, the better, because it's not smashing the rope and causing it to, if you had like a little nick in your rope, when this got to that point, it'd probably break. So let's set up, this is double whip. We have our piece set up with a rig on it. It's right there. That's where we go. Okay. So the way I would set that, I would hook there. And then because I have a ring on the back side of this, I would anchor this on this side. So I'm on one side of the log with my ring, and I want to be on this side of the log and separate them two as much as I can so I can cause a better bend radius in this rope when it comes off. So the way I would do this is just wrap it around. I should probably go the other way. Yeah. And I would just wrap around, and I end up being anchored at about the same height as the ring is. Let me get this all clipped in. I don't have that small of fingers, so this gets aggravating at times. Okay, and I'll show you the system after we're set up. So there it is. Now let's see if it'll lift it. Yeah, it will. There's what you end up with. So if you can keep them on separate sides of the tree like this, you see the good bend radius that you end up with there to there. So what happens is this is up here, anchor it off. When it drops into the system. It's now got double the amount of rope, and this, because what I would do is use a rigging ring here, that's creating friction on this rope the whole time as that piece goes down. So the whole time that this thing is on its way down here, this is creating friction. So you are now getting friction from here, 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 and major friction from here. So you can use much less wraps down here. You've now spread and put more of the friction up in the canopy instead of at the base. So you have to remember that you'll use where, if you were normally rigging up here, you would maybe use a wrap and a half. Well, when you're doing double whip, you may use just a half wrap, or you may need a whole wrap. You'll have to dial that in, but the settings are going to be completely different with your porter wrap or bollard when you introduce this, because this part here is making a bunch of friction. And that comes down, now you've displaced it into 2 spans of rope as opposed to a single one when you're normally rigging. That helps on that shock load and the impact. And then also this thing is stopping it as it slides down that moving rope the whole time and creating friction. So I hope that makes sense, but there it is. That's double whip rigging. You could do that same thing, you just move your rigging points down. Like on this one, if I was to move to the next one, I would set it up, and it's basically almost already set up for me. But okay, say they got this piece down and I'm pulling it up and I'm getting ready to set up the next one. The next one, all I would do is take this and I would anchor it down here. I would move that ring down some, but for the most part, I'm going right there. And I would move this down about midway, a little below midway. I just have it knotted off. I hate to untie it all the way. Let's get this little knob that I'm just, oh, there we go. Okay. So have it hooked up like that. And then that would work just like the other one. You would make your cut here and it would work between these 2 spans of rope. And the, impact and weight would be displaced between 2 spans of rope as opposed to 1 on a normal rig, and will also give you constant friction as the piece is lowering itself down the span. Problem is, double the rope. You have to remember you're going to be using double the rope. So same way with any span rigging or anything like that, you're going to use double the rope too. So if you want more on that, like I could do a more in-depth thing on it maybe one time. We'll just see how everybody likes it. This is almost a 2-hour live feed. No one's even gonna make it to that part. But Yank, what's going on? Okay, if we were talking big pieces, but carabiner would be faster for smaller. Yeah, but Taylor, I would say carabiner if. Okay, I've been a believer in this for a while. Now, I think you could get away with a carabiner if I was setting this up, I wouldn't use a carabiner if I was going to rig this piece right here, because it's going to be incredibly sharp into it. But I would be more than glad to use a carabiner over here, because when you do that and you have a redirect, you've now changed the angle of that rope here, and it's now coming off like that. It's coming off over, and then if it went into a carabiner and down, look how wide that bend radius is. It goes over, then down. But if it was just a carabiner here, it would be super sharp. So I try to avoid negative rigging on carabiners. I still do it at times, but I just keep the pieces small. When you're dealing with heavy weight, yeah, I would say as long as the weight's really, really small and it's just quick, carabiner's okay. And if you get into weight, then you want to start being aware of that bend radius and start widening it, because it's going to work to your benefit. The wider that bend radius also, the more friction it's able to create, because it's constant contact, whatever's making contact on that piece. So if you did a dual ring sling, you're going to get double the friction there as it passes down that rope. It's going to slow it down even smoother and easier. So yeah, everything changes depending on, you know, the weight and size of the piece. You're going to have to kind of make your decision. But yeah, I think you're on to it there, Taylor. What the heck? Working on a limited edition black powder right. Dang, brother. That's awesome. Sumia Vlogs. How are you? So yeah, guys, that's all I had. I can't believe we went for 2 hours now. So, I mean, remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, comment, share, subscribe, and like. Subscribe? I feel like a real YouTuber right there. Did you guys feel that with me? Yeah, I'm done, guys. I'm starting to get slap happy here. I'm tired. That's it for me. This was episode 23. So, still don't know if we're going to do a full year. But I reckon we're about almost halfway there. So, about a half a year. I remind you of Trevor from GTA 5. Okay, I don't play that. But, right on. That's cool. Billy, thank you for holding the law down, brother. I appreciate you always. And thanks for always being so damn loyal, too. You're the man. Dan, everybody that was in here, you guys, I appreciate you. I will catch you guys next time. Like I said, I may do some more lives here coming up. And do this more on the regular. But don't get mad at me if the videos don't come out as many as I was doing. Like I said, I just need to clear my head and reset, because I've got to focusing on the analytics and numbers way too much, and I need not to see that. So, Leo, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. I'll catch you guys next time. Have a good weekend, rest of what you got, and have a safe work week. If I can help you anywhere, just say something. Thanks again, guys. See ya.